vandalism. No, not the street art, just WB and their wanton desecration of the IP they get their hands on. The Indo.
It's a story of a block that was disappearing.
Telling kids that something is disappearing.
Say it, so it doesn't disappear.
Then telling them if they say it, it won't disappear. This is confusing for adults, never mind kids. 5:30, and the sun is already this bright. And I know you're about to say that in June in New York City, the sunrise can happen as early as 5:24 a.m. But then I'd say that's just the tip. Full sun penetration doesn't happen for another 5 to 10 minutes. And then you'd say something about clocks can be wrong, and then I'd say, but the kid Mero just said it was 5:30 on the radio just a few seconds ago. And then you'd say that he might have just been rounding down. And then I'd say, why are we even arguing when the sin is not closing your window shades? Usnavi is dressed like 90% of this movie. This t-shirt is a lie. This section partakes in the classic real-world environment, is in rhythm with the current song cliche, which is fine. Musical's got a musical and all. But what is this sidewalk cleaner even cleaning off the sidewalk that would require this very strange start and stop pattern? Kids. Scratching your manhole cover. Doing this under the cover of a bright summer morning?
I've never been north of 96th Street.
Well, you must take the A train.
Giving a person directions to the exact place they are standing. Also, according to this very map, you could take the 1 train and walk a few blocks. So a must, the A train is not. Daniela is sing-gossiping some Discount Marcy Playground remix about walking into a room that smells like sex and cheap perfume, like one of the trees you hang from a rear view. And if there's a car deodorizer that smells like sex, I've been getting my oil changed at the wrong place.
Chillax.
Saying chillax. Pricing your cousin at the same cost as the canned beans. Hold up, there is Spam on this shelf? Spam is owned by Hormel Foods, which also owns Corn Nuts. Corn Nuts rhymes with butts, and butts fart. Fart smell, and we smell using our olfactory nerve. Aha! Black Widow defeats General Dreykov by severing her olfactory nerve. And Optic Nerve is a comic book series by a cartoonist named Adrian Tomina, who also just happens to do illustrations for The New Yorker, a publication directly referencing the same city wherein the heist takes place. Does any of this matter? No. But I forced you to listen to all that nonsense, so I'm counting it as a win for me and a sin for the movie. The song just said, that's 2 quarters, 2-quarter waters, and it's cute when New Yorkers pretend there's actually water in these sugar grenades. I'm not sure which to sin more, that he's opening this in the store, or that a grown-ass adult hasn't learned the twist slowly trick. You gotta seduce that soda, man. Otherwise, you're going to end up with premature carbonation, and you don't want that thing to fizz all over your face. I mean, unless that's your thing, in which case, no drink shaming here. In the lyrics, they sing that the boss likes his coffee with 1 cream and 5 sugars, but this isn't measured out, and that is way too much. I haven't seen someone dispense with cream this aggressively since Eric Clapton. Right now, Vanessa is singing the word no 28 times in a row, and all I have to say to that is, no. The movie has Vanessa sing that Usnavi owes her a bottle of cold champagne, but the movie doesn't explain why she is owed this, or why anyone needs to specify cold champagne. It's just like that thing in the UK where they have 2 types of water, and if you don't specify which one, you inevitably end up with the one you don't want. This shot of Usnavi singing with the dancers and the reflection is so good, I'm gonna have to add the reflection of a sin. You know, because reflections are reversed. Just take the sin off before I change my mind. But also, all of this is in a song called In the Heights, where they keep singing in the heights, so yeah, you guessed it. Narration.
How's the law office?
Still going. Thank God.
Movie thinks it's a tough time to be a lawyer in America.
I used to be working in the back on the soda gun, and I was like John Wick.
This childhood memory involves John Wick instead of, I don't know, John McClane or any other star that Usnavi would have actually been mimicking as a child. Also, I don't remember John Wick killing anyone with a soda fountain. Is it possible you're thinking of his uncle, Captain Ron Wick?
Mine was a quaint little sueñito.
It's not the size of your sueñito, it's the quality of your sleep. Crab shadowing. Penny is on the dispatch mic singing a whole bunch of nonsense that has nothing to do with cab routes. And you just know there's some guy named Frank out there in cab world thinking, can I please just get a destination location already? And maybe save the tune warbling and sunny disposition for your own time. Penny continues singing about a double-decker bus wreck, and they all respond with smiles and laughter because bus wrecks are super cute, you know?
You wanna come?
I know that voice! Woohoo!
This old woman perfectly hears this quiet conversation occurring on the other side of a street in New York City. Abuela Claudia is not cooking for me in this scene. Nina is now singing about how she's afraid to be considered a failure, and with this and Usnavi being afraid to ask out Vanessa, we're playing all the young adult cliche hits today, kids. This scene never cuts, and unless Jimmy Smits is part of identical quadruplets, they hide all the cuts pretty well. You'd think that'd be a good thing, but now I'm wondering if the oneers I love so much actually weren't all that hard after all. So I'm pretty sure I have to sin this moment for completely ruining the magic of movies. Wow, Smits actually takes a bite of his food during this scene. It's almost like he's eating a real meal. But later, he also talks with food in his mouth, so really, my hands are tied here.
¿Qué es esto? What's all over those pipes?
Rust.
Rust.
Trying to make me believe someone who has lived in New York City for a very long time doesn't recognize rust.
The bodega was only supposed to be temporary, but now I'm like almost 30.
Oh no, you've only got half a century left. Better hurry up. Not so subtle product placement gets one up by this
I was in Pampers on that plane.
even less subtle product placement.
Best days of my life were there.
That's the corniest thing I've ever heard.
Sonny would have reached the heights of CinemaSins.
On my dad's first trip to New York, he saw a passing ship on the horizon.
Snappy.
Right, these grade school punks put the whole U.S. Navy to Usnavi thing together that quickly when it took the audience 3 separate camera zooms for it to click in. Also, for better or worse, Usnavi's father doesn't see the Staten Island ferry. This Easter egg from Hamilton just makes me wish I was watching Hamilton.
No one could fill her shoes. Literally. They were like 4 inches high.
Pump shaming.
How long's the wait? For you, mamita, front of the line.
Maybe before loudly and publicly cutting your friend in line, you should ask the people who were all there first if they mind. You know, in case you actually want to make all your customers happy. Also, fine, she's at the front of the line, but that doesn't mean every last one of you have to leave whoever you're working on, right? Look at her, does she look like she needs any of you, let alone all of you? I would have fewer questions if they were just taking a break from saloning to stretch their hamstrings, but is this position required for leg waxing? Sentient wigs. Scene does contain a lap dance. Vanessa sings that one day I'm hopping in a limousine and driving away, but since being a chauffeur doesn't seem to be a step outlined in this plan, what she actually means is riding away.
Assuming they can prove income 40 times the rent?
New York City.
My cousin over there has been meaning to ask what a lady like yourself would be doing this weekend.
This works, because nothing makes a woman hotter than your younger, awkward cousin asking them out on a date for you. The register clearly says $1.99 and Vanessa hands him $2, but he never gives her a penny. And sure, they could do the leave a penny, take a penny thing, but there is protocol for that. And no one here is following proper lap tap procedure.
Like a drunk Cheetah Rivera.
This comes across as an insult, but a drunk Cheetah Rivera would probably still be very good at dancing. Masturbating a shirt stain. This f***ing Tide pen bit. How much did P&G pay for this sh**? Oh no! I rhymed! Get this encounter before this escalates into a full song and dance number.
You said drunk Cheetah Rivera. Who's that?
Usnavi will now engage in a lesson that includes just listing off the names of Hispanic female greats. It never actually answers the question. Dick. What the hell? This is the same guy who spray painted the bodega at the beginning and stole from the bodega as well. Usnavi is friends with this guy? F***ing why?
Oh, I got more flows than Obi-Wan Kenobi, yo.
Have people been accusing Obi-Wan of having flow? Seems like a low bar. The different styles and overall choreography of the song 96,000 is some of the best musicaling this film musicals. There are certainly other great moments, but this one shows off the talents of Lin, Chu, the cast, and the whole crew enough that it's probably a good opportunity to take a general sin in honor of this movie winning the talent lottery. Ah! The director said this pool scene won't be complete without 4 guys forcibly dislocating their shoulders. Thus began protracted contract negotiations.
You're so cute.
Hitting on 14-year-olds at the pool. All these bozos took their lotto tickets into the pool with them? That thing might be worth 96 G's, and you've got it in your pool pockets? It's a good f***ing thing that none of these assholes want.
But the ticket wasn't never turned in.
Lying to children to protect your obvious plot twist. Movie shoehorns in another Hamilton cameo. Fine, but just this one last time. Lin recklessly abandons his cart here at the front of the bus so he can use this bus as his own personal project's runway. And yet somehow, when he emerges out the back, it's moved to meet him. This weak-ass kick straight to third. These complete dick folds are now dancing in the middle of an active basketball game. And I'm beginning to think the assholes in this movie think the entire world revolves around their songs. I'm not sure what special domino rules you play in Washington Heights. Who put this 5 on the 6s? It's like a huge domino. It's like the famous saying goes, if you can't match the spinner, hit the boneyard, you big sinner. I'm now just catching on to the fact that this is supposed to be a younger Nina. And all this time I was waiting for the twist when we find out she'd been stalking this little girl.
I'm in a meeting.
And even though it's a private meeting that I probably didn't want anyone knowing about yet, I left the door cracked so you could conveniently walk in on me.
Yeah, you know, I know you're his dad, and I'm just his big cousin, but, I mean, this could be good for him. You're unsure. Talk to me.
This is one of the most compelling scenes in the movie, but what is the purpose of his dad letting Usnavi go on and on about this so we think he's an asshole, instead of just telling him that Sonny is undocumented? Also, the director said let's go with alcoholism, because it's the much darker and less funny apple in the room. Sure, having a mini fridge is a great way to keep your beverages in a convenient and closer location, but the other fridge is only like 3 to 4 foot further. 0 days? Shouldn't that mean the blackout is happening right now? If not, you need to go from how many days to how many hours. Movie doesn't know how to unnecessarily telegraph a plot point correctly. Rosa Diaz 100% goes for a cheek grab on Abuela Claudia here, and I'm not mad it happened. I'm just mad the movie didn't follow that thread a bit further. Domestic violence.
Nina, you got sauce on my sleeve. Pass me a tissue or something.
No, I got you.
Phew, I was worried that Tide Pen setup wasn't going to pay off. We can all breathe again now. And now we enter the part where innocent choices result in jealousy, posturing, misunderstanding, and a super emotional breakup of a relationship that started its first date in the last hour or so. The blackout has happened and they are now singing We Are Powerless, and I assume this should have a double meaning, but the movie hasn't really conveyed the second one, so it feels like they're being really dramatic about the power being out. And honestly, that's just kind of silly. These two apparently just have a big trash bag full of fireworks at the ready for times like this, as one does. Also, thinking that lighting off explosives in a situation where people appear to already be stressed will make things better. Cool character moment for Benny and all, but why is he the only one here? Wouldn't some overnight employees have been here routing taxis when the power went down? Did they just abandon ship? No. I see where this is going, and I won't allow it. Look, Lynn, this is a beautiful song, and it's presented beautifully on the screen, but it's clear Abuela's about to die, and you did that, man. You had a choice, and you sat there at your hipster typewriter and purposely killed Abuela Claudia. You are a premeditated musical murderer, and now I'm feeling my own feelings, and you must pay the consequences. Abuela sings As I Feed These Birds, and yet not pictured birds. Choosing the stairway to heaven instead of the ramp. Movicle helpfully cuts to Usnavi on the beach for a second to remind me that he's telling this sad, heart-wrenching moment and all its pain to young children. Thanks for the reminder. I might have forgot to send that.
She say alabanza.
Roll Tide! Wait, am I sportsing wrong? This moment with this powerful song and the sight of all these candles being raised is starting to make my eyes malfunction. You never thought you'd see a sin removal for over-candling, but here we are.
Let's start by you.
You're about to change zip codes. Country codes, actually.
You've been on one terrible date.
All them doodles you made. No, it was like Wonder Woman meets Simpsons meets Guernica.
Pixar, it didn't happen. Also, have a little respect for chronology. The appropriate order is Guernica, then Wonder Woman, then The Simpsons.
Like Abuela always used to say, asserting our dignity in small ways.
Always is a bit of a stretch. She said this to you like a week ago, and that seemed like the first time.
Ignore anyone who doubts you.
I get the sentiment, but can we add an unreasonably in there somewhere? Do you know how many idiots are doing terrible things right now because they are ignoring anyone who doubts them? Ignore anyone who doubts you is basically just a few steps away from hold my beer. So let's be clear with our words, okay?
We're all ready, ma'am.
That's señorita to you?
Eso es pedante!
In Puerto Rico, blackouts happen all the time, and we still threw a fiesta.
Being a dick to the barrio for not wanting to party on a hot summer day.
What would Jesus do? Do I look like Jesus to you?
I mean, honestly, probably closer than most pictures I see. Also, the movie doesn't use that famous passage in the Bible where the Jews are walking through the desert and they don't want to party because it's too hot. Then Jesus turned water into wine and threw a super banging fiesta. I mean, the debauchery that day was so far off the scales. Later that week, he was like, I'm really sorry, guys. My bad. I'll take care of these sins for you. I mean, it's gonna suck for me, but I owe you guys. Then we returned 3 days later and he was like, that party was so off the hook, I'm throwing another. Well, at least that's what I remember from Sunday school. Flashing your midriff because you know you're on camera.
You get all your coffee for free.
Gossip is a sin and lying is a sin. So, since we saw Vanessa actually pay extra for her coffee earlier, does that make this worth 2 sins? Give a sin, take a sin. Honestly, mostly give a sin. So, here's your change. This dude wants us to see his midsection so much he's now pulled his shirt all the way over his head. Are you hoping to get a belly sponsor? How much is ab space like that going for these days? Ah! Oh my god, movie. You have to tell me when you're going to shift gravity like that. I'm just enjoying what I think is another nice romantic song, and all of a sudden I think Benny's about to paint the concrete. This entire scene gives me vertigo, and my heart rate is up so much right now that you basically made me do unintentional exercise. Damn you! Also, the movie uses this character to establish wall dancing as an observable phenomenon, thereby making this officially the worst film in the Spider-Man franchise. So let's talk about Abuela Claudia's plan. She wins $96,000 in the Take 5, and instead of cashing it in and putting the money in a trust, she writes for Usnavi on it, stashes it at the bottom of a random keepsakes box? Not only are there a mega million ways this could have gone wrong, what is she waiting for? Will this even hold up in court? Usnavi already said he wasn't related to her, so I don't know who would be pulling the knives out to get at this ticket, but they'd probably have more standing than him. This was careless at best, and could have been tragic at worst, and I'm rethinking everything I thought I knew about Abuela Claudia.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. Whoa.
Usnavi finds out he has the winning lotto ticket that got everyone so psyched it caused a 10-minute dance number, but apparently the power of boners makes him forget all this super quick.
Just waiting for inspiration to strike, I guess.
Me pretty creative and artistic. I mean, it's gonna hit you, I think.
This moment doesn't contain a song and dance. Seriously, This is like the perfect moment for Usnavi to give us a verse and drop some knowledge. They're still singing about champagne? Well, this champagne's me to say, but at this point, the movie is approaching 2 hours. I'm losing patience with these two and their sparkling wine.
How do you get this gold shit off?
Thing Shirley Eaton said after filming Goldfinger somehow makes it into the script.
When did you get that? What you mean, when did I get it? Don't worry about when I got it.
It's a valid question, and since the one who sold the ticket is now in possession of that ticket, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be the only one asking, so maybe work on a better answer.
Hey, how much for this?
Convenient Jackson Pollock paint rag is convenient.
I can feel you trying to open your eyes, okay?
I'm not
Just
trying-
don't.
It's called a reflex, Vanessa. You have your hand plastered over his face. Isn't that enough to satisfy your Stalin-esque demand for secrecy? Jeez!
So I called Sonny and I told him to open up the bodega because my fingers needed to move.
There is absolutely no connection to her working on fashion designs and the bodega. She wasn't working in this space before, so I see no reason why she couldn't work on this shit at home. Also, turning on this light is played as a big reveal. But it is not that dark in here, and Usnavi has been working in this space every day for years. He has to be f***ing blind not to notice this big-ass mural on a wall where there wasn't one before. The beach opening was all a ruse. He's been in the heights the whole time. Thanks, lin-manuel Shyamalan.
Man, you've been talking forever.
I mean, he's not wrong. Raising the price on this shaved ice faster than a Hamilton ticket in 2016.
Gladys! Is crab medicine aisle 3 or aisle 4?